based here in Worcester, and it's the Working Lunch Program.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that wonderful announcement.
Good, Bob.
That was good. That was like off the cuff too. I think I caught you by surprise with that.
But he's been doing it for years. He knows what he's doing.
We keep doing it till we get it right.
So, speaking about young people,
Yeah.
and on the topic of young people, our own Dr. Robert Zukowski from the Workforce Investment Board staff and our producer extraordinaire is actually a judge in the National Skills USA program.
Yes, one of the 1,100 judges in the national.
And I do have a bit of a bone to pick with you and the Skills USA organization.
Oh.
Apparently, my hip-hop ventriloquist act didn't qualify again.
That's
this
not a
year.
skill? Who's
Exactly.
judging this?
What kind of
no, it isn't.
program is this?
We'll
That
have to,
wouldn't be
we'll have to see if we can get it into it as a demonstration.
some sort
and
of
then,
special
and then from the
demonstration.
demonstration, we can see if it'll reach the skills.
I showed up at the president's house, ready to go with my
socks?
puppet. I rang the doorbell.
It's just one sock puppet? There's
I thought
there's
for
no
sure I'd
other
be
puppet?
in.
Is it you?
Apparently he didn't appreciate that approach.
Is it you and the sock talking, or are there two socks? What's the show?
There's two characters, I like to call them. You
Mhm.
might call them puppets. I call them characters.
I might call them socks.
One's kind of spicy and has, he's really,
Some flair.
He's really, he's wacky. He's out there. And the other one's a bit conservative. So those two don't
Oh,
always
that sounds
get
like a
along.
riot.
And
Yeah.
and then I'm just like in the middle of it. It's quite a show. So we're gonna have to get that into Skills. I think they'd really appreciate that.
Yes, they definitely would.
So tell us what they do accept at the Skills USA program, since it's not my act.
Anything from the construction fields, your plumbing, heating, ventilation.
Also
your
food service and food
food
preparation
services.
and the chef kind of things, right?
Food preparation, automotive repair, and construction, various construction.
And so I was a
manufacturing
judge on our regional
in the state.
and
level.
had a wonderful time doing it. Some amazing young people came through, and the winners from our state then went on to the national. How many were there? Over?
So wait, it just goes from the state to the national.
nationals,
There's
yeah.
no like regional.
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
But it's regional within the state. So what happens is that each of the teams or the representative participants are chosen by the area vocational technical high schools, and from there they compete at a regional level.
Okay.
And once the regional level takes place, then those winners are represented in the state level.
So
And there's
regional within the state, and then the state level, and then it's a national. All 50
there's a
states winners get together.
Yep.
And what was the team of Massachusetts? How many young people made it?
163 students out of
Holy
Massachusetts.
cow! Just
represent-
Massachusetts. So how many young people is in Kansas City? Correct.
Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri, and there's probably about 5,900 students participating or
Wow.
competing. And that's both at the high school level and postgraduate level.
That's probably
so
where I
there,
belong.
there are some there are some
sock puppet.
yes there are some states that rely totally on the community college, technical community colleges, and they compete at their own level.
Yeah,
Right,
but it's an amazing competition. Must be an amazing
Yep.
week to have that many
Yep.
really positive young people getting together.
It's considered the number one day of volunteerism in America by industry volunteers. And
I was going to say
it has
industry
some-
strongly supports this, obviously,
Yeah.
with career development.
It's
and
big-
workforce
big
development.
names.
It's estimated about $35 million worth of industry contributions go
Wow.
into this event in Kansas City. It takes place over about 16 football fields. That's what the space of the competition is equal
Wow. So the big convention centers out there.
to. Big
and
convention
all that,
centers,
yeah.
municipal halls, all types of things, hotels for certain competition.
And how did the team of Massachusetts students? How did we do nationally?
Okay, we had 163 go into the competition. 113 of those students scored 10% or higher in the nation.
Okay.
So
So do they go like gold, silver,
and
bronze?
then,
or?
and then the top students, we had 19 students receive the gold medals. We had 9 receive silver, and we had 29 receive bronze.
All right, let's hear it from Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Huh?
absolutely.
That's excellent.
The real difficulty is when you get down to students in fourth place, that it could be hundredths of
Yeah.
a point, and they just missed getting the bronze and
They were
going up on
robbed.
stage
Robbed of their glory.
and doing that kind of stuff. So it's great. It was the 49th. Next year will be the 50th annual.
Wow.
Skills USA was formerly known as VICA, and VICA stood at the Vocational Industrial Clubs of America.
Skills USA. I'm glad they made that name change. I
And
think
Rolls off
they-
the tongue a
they-
little
yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Vicar. I'm thinking that's like some sort of like
Vicar.
Pope thing.
but
like
a lot of folks that are
right? Pope. You know,
No.
like
Yeah.
like the Catholic institution. They have the
Ah.
Pope is the
Yes.
Vicar of Christ.
But-
I think.
Yeah.
Catholics
Uh-huh.
cooperate.
yeah, all right.
Just
But
throwing at you some facts. Don't let the fact. I'm just throwing at you some facts here.
Yeah.
So no. Skills USA, I think, really imparts much more the mission that's involved than
But-
the acronym. The
Yeah.
kind of.
It's really known. It's a volunteer organization of students, teachers, and administrators, and they're together to ensure partnership for a skilled workforce.
Yeah, it's
So
really,
it
it really
fits.
is strong industry partnership.
Yep.
The vocational schools here in our state and throughout the country really are tied to industry, making
Yep.
sure that they're meet. So, unfortunately, though, the number of students that are able to go to vocational schools in Massachusetts, is somewhat limited. There's large wait lists for those schools. I mean, which is pretty incredible. I mean, with the nature of education the way it is, 20, 30 years ago, vocational schools did not have, quite frankly, the reputation or the outcomes. I think that certainly some of the outcomes were there. I don't want to maybe downplay that, but the reputation of those outcomes maybe weren't as,
Yeah.
and the commitment. I mean, I think throughout Massachusetts, there's been several brand new Voc schools built, including the one in Worcester a few years ago, which has become somewhat of a model. I know that we
Yes.
have a lot of other
This one in
communities
Springfield?
coming to look. Yeah,
This one is Springfield that was just built.
yeah, and
There's
there's a
one in North
huge
Shore.
investment. I have it on good authority that Bay Path is undertaking a
Yep.
major renovation of their vocational
In addition.
school. Yeah.
Renovation in addition. When the school opened in 1972 up at Bay Path, there were 2 science labs. Not enough now with the
Yeah.
focus on STEM, even for the vocational technical students to come
Yeah.
out in that area. So we're going to
The other big thing with vocational schools that's pretty amazing is the co-op programs that they have and getting young
Yes.
people out there, hands-on learning, really again understanding the workplace better. So, well, congratulations to you, sir, for being a part of Skills USA.
I'm there with 1,100 other judges, so it's a great week in Kansas City. A lot of things happening.
Bob, could you just highlight? I know you said there's like a good tie-in with private sector and businesses. Can you name some of the businesses that are involved with it,
Okay.
or just a couple, maybe just to give a sense of?
Well, all the, Home Depot and the tool manufacturers.
Yeah, I think you
are
said Harley
definitely-
Davidson was involved.
Harley Davidson is definitely involved because they bring in their technicians and they bring in the motorcycles
Right,
and
so
they
it's-
work with the students, and Yamaha and Merc Cruiser are there working with the students for the marine tech and all industries, Ford, Toyota.
Yeah. So these are the major employers in the
Major
area.
employers in the United States
Wow.
that are doing it. So it's a great week. Next week is number 59. Kansas City is too small, so it's going to be moving the following year after that to Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville.
And it's supposed to be housed in Louisville. It's going to be housed in one location. All competition will be in one location.
Wow.
Whereas now it's spread out throughout Kansas City,
Must
Missouri.
be quite the facility then.
Huge facilities for this,
Wow.
definitely. So,
So lots
Good
going
things
on.
happening
Yeah,
and-
good things happening there. The Central Mass Workforce Board, we had our summer meeting yesterday, in fact, and one of the focuses of that meeting, just to kind of pivot away from, we obviously talked about summer jobs and youth jobs, but we also had a great discussion at the board about the problem that we have in our region and really in the nation with getting folks that have been unemployed for over 6 months or over a year back into the workplace. And it's really, quite a challenge out there. There's a lot of research showing that if you're unemployed 6 months or more, you have a very difficult time getting back into the job market. You become for whatever reason, undesirable to many employers.
Yeah, what I thought was really interesting was the study that you had highlighted at the meeting. That there was somebody who sent out 5,000 resumes with varying levels of unemployment length.
Yeah,
And
so
that was really
everything was the same basically, except for that
how
length
long
of-
they've
yeah.
been unemployed, the employment gap. And the results showed that employers just wouldn't even call them back.
In callbacks for interviews between those. They found the cliff there, the drop off was right around 6 months of unemployment. Anecdotally, it seems like there's the impression from employers that there must be something, quite frankly, something wrong with that person to have been unemployed that long. Maybe they're not looking as hard as they should.
Or they're
Maybe
lazy.
They're lazy.
or
They're not looking as hard as they should. Maybe
Right.
they're not motivated. Maybe they're their skills aren't up to date or whatever it is.
So it brings up this red flag
Yeah.
for an employer.
And also, if you look at the folks that are in that category, in that status, they tend to be a little bit older
Yep.
and a little bit more educated than the general population of workplace population. So, so what you really kind of see is that mid-career professional has probably, many years work experience, gets laid off, doesn't find their way back for whatever reason. It might be that they waited to get back in. It might be that they've been trying all along. It might be that they took some time off, whether to be with their family. If their wife was working
Right.
while
Stay
they
with
were
the kids or
unemployed, they
something,
stayed
yeah.
home with the children, whatever it is, thinking they're going to be able to get right back in when they wanted to, or thinking that the next opportunity is just around the corner. And after 6 months, it really becomes that much more difficult. And one of the reasons why people do speculate is because of that population. If you look at their work history, the level of employment,
Right.
the salary
High
they were
wages,
making,
yeah.
high wages, now they go for a job that might be
Lower.
lower, and so the hiring folks might be feeling like the organizations, the companies might be feeling like that the salary expectation is too high, or B, that they're just going to take the job while they're looking for another job, and so it's not worth hiring them for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're really kind of under the gun when it comes to that. So we're the board is looking at that issue, is talk to partners about what we can do, talking to employers themselves about what they'd like to see and how their mindset, what could we do to help give those people the ability to maybe deal on more equal footing. And so we do have some special workshops I was
going to say, what are some strategies that somebody might be in that long-term unemployment? What can they do? Like, what are career counselors at the career center recommending to folks?
Certainly, preparing to address those challenges with employers and making sure you understand the employer's perspective and can speak to that clearly. And so if you're in an interview situation or talking to a potential employer, that you're really kind of highlighting your skills and your ability and your desire to get back into work, in the proper way, in a positive way, and not kind of giving off some red flags that you're not able to commit to the company or whatever.
So having a positive answer to that question. Well, what have you been doing for the last 6 months?
And one thing that we are kind of making sure people understand that that cliff exists, and to make sure that you're trying to get right back into a work situation. It might require you to take something short term that you don't necessarily want to do for the short term, but you have a much better opportunity to get the next job if you're already working.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, though, is for folks that kind of already find themselves in that situation, is to we have a volunteer connections program now, which helps to.
Yeah, we interviewed Wendy, I think, last show or the show before about.
That's right.
About the
and
program.
so we're pretty excited about that. It's not the be all end all. It's not a silver bullet, but it does help, and in the right for the right people, it's been successful. Really kind of helping them to offer them an opportunity to get very recent, relevant work experience. It might be working on a project or with a company that's in their industry field that has maybe updated procedures or software use or whatever.
So kind of gain some new skills,
New
keep
skills,
their,
yeah, keep
their
their
current
sharp-
skills sharp, that kind of thing.
and also a chance to network and to be active. The other thing too is where, a lot of industries do have industry associations, trade associations, and those trade associations themselves are nonprofit, and folks could volunteer for them. Could be, take on maybe a committee chair.
Oh, right.
person
So then
role
you're
or-
networking with all those.
Yeah, ask if they need a volunteer secretary for those meetings or whatnot. I mean, you'd be surprised how short-staffed some of those associations are, and so to get some volunteer support, and like you said, you're getting a chance to really network with a lot of professionals there. So we're we're encouraging people to think a bit outside the box on that, and to get back into it there. So.
How has the response been from nonprofits on taking in volunteers? Are there a lot of nonprofits looking for them, participating?
Yeah, I mean the response has been great. We've been working. We're not actually making the referral directly.
Yep.
What we're trying to do is help the job seekers understand what they're looking for.
Oh, okay.
Help identify what organizations would fit that criteria. Giving them contact information and letting them move forward directly
Right.
with the organization. A lot of organizations have different procedures for taking in volunteers, so that still applies. Whether it's an interview process, some have different Corey level checks that they do for criminal background checks, especially if they're working with like young people or whatever. So, but yeah, it has been well received in the nonprofit world as well. So so we're excited about that, but that is one area where we've been, concentrating some of our efforts at the career center level, is to help serve those folks that really need a bit of a hand to get back into the other, as you know,
Yeah, I
is
was gonna
the
just mention.
big launch of the state's online unemployment insurance system.
Yes.
So everything, so it's been migrated from just a telephone system with some support through staff at the career centers for walk-in folks to a system now where you've still got the telephone system.
Yep.
Now you have a direct portal that people can use online to file their claim. Employers as well, they can file their information through the online portal as job seekers. And the staff at the career center, so the role of the staff at the career center has changed
Right.
from directly, inputting data
Putting it in,
into
yeah.
the system on behalf of clients to helping the clients themselves navigate the system.
They're a
and
guide
get direct,
now, yeah.
and helping get direct information through the system. So, any massive changeover is not going to be without its share of glitches and challenges. I can say that the staff at the Department of Unemployment Assistance, DUA, has been incredibly supportive and responsive. None of those folks are taking vacations this summer while this rollout's happening, and they've got special war rooms set up to deal with especially the technical hurdles involved.
Yeah.
This is all sensitive data. It's complicated data, and so and it's flowing from a number of different sources for every one claim. So you might have someone claiming on insurance, so you've got the claimant themselves. They might have 1, 2, or even 3 past employers that they're dealing that have the data that flows in. Then you have on the state side